All right, are we going live? All right, looks like we're live. So today I'm going to be showing you some fundamental exercises you can do. If you've been someone if you have seen exercise videos where you might have seen 100 different exercises and they look complicated and advanced, where you see someone with straps and things hanging off of them and you think, I could never do that. That's not what we're doing today. We're doing some very core fundamental exercises where I want to equip people with some simple exercises to build a strong foundation so you can feel confident building strength. And then if you want to take the more advanced or more complicated exercises, once you feel ready for it, you'll have a strong base and know how your muscle is capable of and where you should be feeling each exercise. So if that sounds good to you, hit that like button for me to let me know you want more content like this where we're covering fundamental exercises. So today I'm going to be focusing on arms and legs. And we're going to be using a pair of dumbbells. So the first exercise is for the bicep muscle. Now this attaches at the inside of your elbow and goes up into your shoulder. It actually attaches at two places up here in your shoulder. So it kind of splits into a V. So we want to feel this through this entire section of your arm. Now you shouldn't feel it at all in the back. It should all be here in this front section. So for a bicep curl, the biggest thing I see with people is they start with their hands in the wrong place. So they start down here and curl up. So when we're doing it, we're going to start with our hands here in front and lean back a little bit. Now what that does is it puts tension on the bicep through that entire movement. So from here, I'm going to bring my hands up to the front of my shoulders and then back out forward. See, I'm not going down with the bicep where it just drops straight down. I'm going out, and that's going to get you a effective tension on that muscle. Now, with this, you might have to lighten the weight a little bit to get the right form, and that's okay. The most important thing is getting that tension down here at the bottom of the movement. Now I don't want to swing my body, I want to bend at my elbow. I'm kind of exaggerating, but I do see people sort of do this where they do cheater curls. Even just a slight swing of the hips will really take all of that tension out of the bicep. So it might help even to put your back flat against something and then lift just with the elbow. So if you feel this in your lower back, you know you're swinging your hips, you're not keeping your back straight. That's why I like a little bit of a lean back just to take any of that swing out of the movement. So that will work the front of your arms in that bicep right in here. Then for this next exercise, we're going to work the tricep. So that is a muscle that attaches to this tendon back here in the back of your elbow and actually runs, there's three parts of it that run up the back of your arm. Two of them attach in the back of your humerus or your upper arm bone, and then one of them attaches all the way back here into your scapula, into your shoulder blade. So for this, we're working the tricep with an overhead press. We're also working some of that deltoid, this cap of muscle around the top of your shoulder. we've got it has 3 pieces, a back piece, a middle piece, and a front piece. We're working the front and middle of that shoulder right in here. So you should feel it right here in the front of the shoulder and right here in the back of the arm. For this, you're going to bring your hands out to the sides of your shoulders. So where the dumbbells start tapping right on the outside of your shoulder, and my elbows are completely bent. From here, I'm gonna push straight up to the ceiling and then back down, all the way down to my shoulders. I don't wanna come down to this sort of half rep where it's by my ears. I wanna go all the way down here to my shoulder to maximize that tension in the back of the arm. Now with all of these exercises, I would aim for about 10 reps to start with and really focus on trying to feel that muscle working in the back of your arm and top of your shoulder. Now it might feel more in one muscle than the other. Usually the muscle that is weaker or more less fatigue resistant gives out first. For me, I feel it more in my shoulders than I do in my tricep. This muscle gets tired first. So just go until you feel that muscle get tired, whichever one gives out, or whichever one feels that burning feeling first. So those 2 exercises cover the muscles in the front of your arm and the back of your arm. I like to do them in a pair so that they're balanced between where when I'm working one, I'm working the other as well. Now with those 2, we cover most of the muscles in your arms. Now we're gonna shift to the muscles in your legs. So where this exercise is gonna work a combination of a lot of the muscles in your legs. So we're working these quad muscles that attach at your thigh and hip and go down to your knee. So these actually attach through your kneecap. We're also working the muscles in your glutes and your hamstrings in the back of the thigh. So the hamstrings go from the back of the knee up to the hip, and the glutes attach at the hip and attach down to the thigh. Or they actually attach to some of the fascia as well, which is the connective tissue in your leg. So for this, we're going to do a lunge. This is a great exercise that you don't even need weights for. You can just do it with body weight. So what we're gonna do is you're going to take 1 step forward with 1 foot. This is our working leg, the foot that steps forward. So all of my weight, or 90% of my weight, is gonna be on this leg. This back leg is just here for balance. I want my toes pointed towards the front. From here, keeping my weight on my front leg, I'm gonna kneel down, tap my knee, and then come back up. So I'm going to put all of that onto this front leg, really trying to bend the knee. I'm putting my knee in the same direction as my toe. I should feel this working in my thigh muscles in the front and back. So this is a good complete exercise for the legs. So I should feel that all in this front leg. So I'm going to switch to the other foot and balance it out. Now, you'd want to go straight forward. Try and do a little bit more towards camera. Really trying to bend that knee. So it's here, kneeling down. I'm actually letting that knee bend forward, so I'm moving towards that front leg. Now, if you ever want to add difficulty to it, you can always hold the dumbbell at your side. I like to do the opposite side from my working leg. Kneeling down and up. So those are 3 fundamental exercises you can do to work your arms and legs. If you like this content and want to see more, I host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Hope to see you there. So now we're gonna jump in and keep on going with the workout. I'm doing all my workouts on stream, so I'm not doing something different than I'm telling you to do. Hold on a second, excuse me. So, we're gonna go into some arm exercises. So working the tricep and the deltoid with this. Now I'm gonna try and aim for about 13 reps and see how many sets I can get done of this. So I'm trying to build as much muscle as possible and maintain that muscle strength. Oh. 13. So I'm aiming for 13 this week. Last week was 12. So I'm trying to bump it up just a little bit to continue to challenge the muscle. Normally I'd be doing a full body workout today, but I found since Wednesday, I work chest a lot. This is still sore to the touch. So I'm not doing any sort of press movement because this muscle still hasn't healed yet. I don't want to risk, and I don't want to break it down while it's still healing from the last workout, because then I'm just going to be slowing down my progress. So I'm focusing in on arms today to still build muscle, because these muscles are healed, even if the muscles in my chest and back are still recovering. Hey B2, good to see you. Welcome to the live stream. Last workout really killed my chest, so it's still pretty sore. So I'm focusing all on arms and legs today. How are you doing today? Wow. 13. B2 says something about chest. My chest pump lasts for at least 2 days. Wow. I feel like it's a little bit bigger, but I don't have that pump feeling. A lot of people, I rarely get that feeling in my chest. it feels sore, but it doesn't get pumped like that. I want to, when I'm able to do more sets in my chest, especially on incline bench. I really like the incline press a lot better, where it's getting more of this upper chest and I can see it in the mirror. I'm like, man, I really just need to focus in on that and do it more frequently or more sets of it. And I think that will help get that chest size bigger. But 2 days, so does your chest grow faster than your other lifts? Do you find that that it's easier to grow chest size? When I do short workouts, I do incline and bench for chest, and then 2 exercises for tricep. Yeah, but to be honest, chest feels like it's faster to build. That's awesome. I like to do just one, so if I'm doing incline or bench, I like to focus on one or the other. I found for me, the setup time is not worth the difference in fatigue. It's all about the same. So I tend to just do one exercise, multiple sets. But that's awesome though. I think that's a really great way of doing it. There's nothing wrong with doing 2 exercises too, so you feel like you get a really good chest pump and build chest fast doing that. How many sets do you do per week, would you say? Right now, I'm doing about 6 sets to maintain my chest. You like to emphasize upper chest. I think I'm gonna start doing that too. I think that's a really good idea. That's why I do incline. It's because I believe it looks bigger up front. One should have good traps, side delts, and upper chest for a thicker neck. Chest, you do 15 sets. Okay, I need to up my chest sets for sure. Right now I'm doing 6 per week. I think I could do more than that. I think I need to space it out, probably Monday and Friday, to give myself enough recovery time, because Wednesday and Friday was too short, where it's only a day between, was too short for me, because this is still so sore. But I think if I had a couple of days between, I should do chest again. So I'm gonna try that too. That is good to know. I mentally, I know it's like, yeah, I need to get more sets done on certain exercises to build, but it's finding that sweet spot for me has been a little bit tricky of that. What's gonna work for my schedule? What's going to let me recover between workouts, and then trying to get as much volume as I can in. And that's what I wanna do here, is have people helping each other out. And I mean, sometimes there are things I need to learn too and get better at, and figuring out how to do that. I have a degree in exercise science, but sometimes the theory and the practice are a little bit different. So might say, oh, it'd be great to work out 3 hours every day, but honestly, how are you gonna fit that in every day? Like, there's what's practical, and so figuring out what's gonna practically work is another thing. But I think I can practically get more than 6 sets in. I found for shoulders, this overhead press, I've really been enjoying how it's broadened out my shoulders. Chest twice a week, so like Monday, I do 2 exercises for chest, and Friday I do 3 for chest, B2 says. Each exercise includes 3 sets. Hang on one sec. So 2, 4, 2 exercises, so 3, 6, 9. So that's 13, right? No, 15, that is 15. I can't do mental math while working out. Okay, very cool. I think for me, there's no one right answer, and that's the great thing about working out. There's a lot of great ways of getting to the same result. For me, I like to focus on fewer exercises and more sets, because that reduces setup time for me. But both are a great option. You can do 2 exercises for 3 sets, or 1 exercise for 6 sets, and get to the same space. And that's so awesome though. So you do, what is the 3rd exercise you do? I'm assuming you do bench press and incline press on Friday. What's the 3rd exercise that you do? 13. Cable push downs. Is that where you're doing like this? Cable push downs for lower chest, I don't know the name, but it's using cables that are wide apart and pushing down. Hang on one sec. So is it like this, just with cables, where you've got cable like this and you're pushing down? Sort of like a fly. Usually the cables are attached like out wide though. Awesome. Yeah, so it's sort of like a cable fly, just same movement pattern. I've really been liking the pectoral, doing a pec fly, laying on my back on the ground. I find that I really get that inner chest, though honestly, I'd rather get more upper chest rather than this line in here. I just think that this comes along for me already, where I'd much rather have this out further. There's no wrong answers. I think those are both great exercises. I think the only bad exercise is the exercise that causes you injury. As long as it doesn't do that, there's a lot of great ways of doing the same muscle in different ways. Okay, gonna keep on going. Now, why do you change up your exercises? What causes you to do multiple exercises in a day? What's the reason you want to do it that way? From the science point of view, both are okay. Both are just as effective. But I know from the personal standpoint, everyone has their own reasons for setting it up the way they do. Wow. 13. For example, you do 3 exercises for chest to target upper, middle, and lower. Triceps, long head, short head, and medial head. Okay, so you're doing it to try and target different places. So it's kind of interesting. The science of it, usually the amount of variance in that is not as important as the total volume. So some people are thinking, oh, I get none of this muscle if I do tricep skull crushers versus overhead press. I have to do the skull crushers to hit that long head and the overhead press to hit the other heads. Really, all 3 heads are working. And so in that sense, until you really specialize and really want to get just that one muscle that much bigger, both can be really effective. Now, there's nothing wrong with doing multiple exercises, and I think it's good to try and be well-rounded like you're doing. You're saying, okay, this hits this upper head more, or this clavicular head of the pec, so I'm gonna make sure to include that in my routine into those sets. I think that's awesome, you're getting that in. Whew. All right. I know some people, they get sore on a particular variation, or some people get bored with a particular variation where it's hard to keep focused on that exercise. I know for me, it's really helps me lock in to do one variation, because then I get to really get everything I can out of that muscle for that day. And then I switch workout to workout as opposed to within a workout. Need just a quick second. Picked up the dumbbells and it's like, yeah, I need another minute before I go back into another set of curls. I think I think what you're doing though is really important, of thinking, how do I target all the different parts of the muscle for the chest? It's a little bit less important for the tricep, as most exercises that hit that long head will also hit the other heads of the tricep. So, as long as you're bending that elbow. End of each workout, B2 says he does forearms like 3 times a week. Wow, that's a lot of forearms. Do you do cables or do you do dumbbells? Or maybe a barbell? I actually don't really isolate forearms anymore. I find that my forearms get plenty of work just by carrying the dumbbells around. I haven't gotten to the point where I actually want to increase my grip. Do triceps because I do 2 exercises now. I can do cable push downs and overhead extensions. That's it. Okay, nice. Both great exercises. Really, you're overachieving. You've got more exercises in your routine, and that's great. I'm more just mentioning it to if someone's just starting out, you can just pick one exercise, get really good at that one before you feel like you have to get to adding multiple of the same type of exercise into one routine. Just, there's nothing wrong with it. And I do think it's a great way of doing it once you build that foundation, then expanding to other exercises. You know, small wrist, B2 says I have small wrists, which is genetic. So the only way to make sure my forearm muscles look bigger is I have to get much muscle on my forearms, as much muscle on my forearms as possible. That's totally fair. And if you want to build your aesthetic, for me, I know my torso is really large, so I'm trying to build up my arms a lot more to balance out that look. I just have a large rib cage and torso because I'm what's called an early mature. So my body grew more than my legs did. My torso is very long. Most people are about 60% legs, 40% upper body. I'm 50-50. So to compensate, I have to build my arms up more to look proportional. Work out a lot, but your diet is like 100 grams of protein on a good day. That's not very much protein. I know that you're a little bit, not heavier, but you're tall. Well, I should really intake about 150. That sounds more reasonable. I know I try for about 170 grams a day, but I'm also over 200 pounds. But 100 grams is good. It's a good start. If you can, trying to include more is a great idea. I think a lot of people undereat protein. I know, I'll set these for a second. For me, when I was in school, they talked about recommended daily allowance or recommended daily allotment, where the protein was like 50 grams a day was the recommended amount. And that has been pretty well debunked. It's too little. So I was eating 50 grams of protein and thought that was enough. I was eating like 1 chicken breast and then eating bread or other things or vegetables and fruit. And that, along with eating too little calories, caused me to lose a lot of weight and a lot of muscle because my body was pulling the nitrogen and that protein, those amino acids out of my muscle and using it for things like my immune system, my cells, my organs. And so now I really try and up my protein and I'm trying to rebuild that muscle, which is harder to rebuild than it is to maintain. But that was at 50 grams. So you're still doing more than I was at the time. So that's good. The more you can aim for those higher protein amounts, the more you can preserve that muscle and have resources and nutrients for your body to build more. Work a lot, but my diet is like, let's see, I tried, but I'm a college student, so the best I could do on my budget is 85 grams daily for sure, and sometimes 100. I hear you, and I know right now for me, because I've got a fairly strict food budget as well, I found that the best cost per dollar is a whey protein rather than trying to do meat, cheese, eggs, sources like that. Eggs are pretty expensive too. So I found that whey protein was, I think, about the third of the price of eggs for protein, and it's a good complete protein. I don't know what your budget is, so I recognize that sometimes even that's too expensive. If you're able to, I have a link for a very good source of protein powder in the description if you are interested, but I understand and never feel obligated to buy anything. I'm just letting you know it's there if you ever were wanting. That's the one I found works best for a more limited budget. I have a couple scoops of that every day because it is pretty costly. I get it. Never used whey protein, creatine, or supplement in your life. Fair enough. This is a little bit of a soapbox, but I don't know why whey protein is considered a supplement. It's basically just dehydrated milk. 50 to 55 euros a week. Okay. So that's like 200 a month. That's probably about, I think my budget is, I think it's 220 a month. So we're probably about in the same ballpark. I know for me, I do a lot of like oatmeal instead of buying bread or buying pre-made food, because where I spend my money is on my protein. So I buy flour and oats instead of like bread and bread or tortillas or things like that. So sometimes it's gonna be hard to fit that into a budget. I get that. Maybe, and let me know if you'd be interested in knowing what I do for food in a day, because I've had to figure that out too. That is a hard part of this, is figuring out how to make your money last. That's grocery budget. So it also includes like bathroom, kitchen. Oh, gotcha. So that includes toiletries and things as well. I see. Yeah. Okay, so that's gonna be a little harder to make that stretch. I totally get that. I have a separate budget outline for that. So yeah, that would be a little bit challenging. I would recommend, even still, whey protein tends to be cheaper than other protein sources per gram. I think it was like a third of the cost of meat when I priced it out. Now that can change, but if you're looking for a high quality protein, it tends to be cheaper than things like turkey, and you still get a great value per gram of protein. Might be kind of losing people with talking a lot about budget, but I do think it's a really important thing to think about, where it's not just, we're not in a vacuum. We're having to think about things about real life. Let me see if I understand you correctly. You're worried about getting acne if you intake whey. Do you have a problem with dairy? I know some people are lactose intolerant or have trouble okay. Then that would be a concern for sure. You might look at something like a pea protein, which is a vegetable protein. That can be a good source of protein as well. I don't have experience with those because I have several food allergies that make it so it's hard to try other supplements. So for me though, I don't have a problem with dairy. The other option, I know that there are good soy proteins. Again, I have not tried those. I have a soy allergy. I cannot eat soy. So they're not a good option for me, but other plant-based options can be good. Oh, I'm sorry. So you don't have a dairy product problem. Don't drink, don't have any allergies. Oh, that's awesome for you. I'm very glad. So I have 2 scoops of whey protein every day. I have no acne problems whatsoever. I would say if you already drink milk, I don't know of any evidence to say that whey protein causes acne. Not that I am aware of. I'm not aware of any research saying whey causes acne. I do know that sometimes people who take steroids get acne and have really bad acne problems because of that, but that's an entirely different thing. So maybe that's the association between the two. I know for me, I take whey protein and creatine every single day. I think the evidence for creatine is very strong for promoting muscle health. It's actually used in something called ATP PCR, which is a quick metabolism of your muscle and other tissues. And the reason I started taking it is because it's not just for muscle. They're finding bone health, mental health. It has systemic effects all through your body. And possibly even in something like Alzheimer's, where that is a metabolic disorder that creatine might have an effect on. So the research is still ongoing on that, but I figure there's not really any downside that has been found with it, aside from some people might feel a little bit of digestive discomfort with creatine. So if there's no downside and only more and more research being done on the positive effects, I want to start taking that now because it's very inexpensive as supplements go and doesn't really have side effects that we can see. So, or very limited side effects, if any. So I used to think, it's just something, it's not bad, but why would I take it? But now I think that it's more of why would I not take it? But I understand especially because it is an extra expense, I would focus on getting the protein first. When should I take creatine if I've never tried it before? Hey, that's a great question. Should I start taking creatine? What all the things should I take care of so that creatine intake is not wasted? If I'm taking creatine, should I eat more carbs or more protein or keep more calories? So, great question. So creatine, if you've never done it before, what I would do is start with 5 grams of creatine daily. You could take it in the morning or in the evening. Doesn't have to be when you work out. It's when it works for your schedule. It mixes into water and you just drink it. I'd find a time of day where you can consistently take it though. And it takes some time for it to build up in your system, for it to spread through your entire musculature. So you won't see it right away, but over time, it will help build, it's an amino acid that will help increase muscle size because it actually pulls liquid into the muscle and increases muscle volume. You don't have to eat more carbs with it or more protein. I would say you want to keep the same diet you would do without creatine. So no diet changes are needed for it. It just is something you add on to an already existing good diet, and it will help accelerate that somewhat. I believe the number was somewhere around 10% additional, which is not a huge thing like steroids, but it's outside of hormonal changes. It is one of the biggest benefits as a supplement aside from something like protein or whey protein, that you can do. So creatine, very beneficial in a lot of things, including your muscles. Now, when you combine it with protein, when you have enough protein to build muscle and you're taking creatine, it can help accelerate how much muscle you're building. It also allows you to be more fatigue resistant, so you can do more sets in a workout because you have more stored energy in your muscle. B2 asked, should I also take a weight gainer? So I have never taken a weight gainer supplement. I personally think you should just focus on getting your macros in through normal food, getting the amount of protein you need. Now, if you need to do that with whey protein, like I said, I don't even count that as a supplement. I think that's more of a food source, but that would be the one thing I would recommend taking, is actually a whey protein or something like that to help get that nitrogen into your body to build muscle. I am not a person that I have not used a weight gainer, so I'm not going to recommend a weight gainer. I think as long as, what I would recommend, whatever you do, try and get if you're trying to build muscle and gain weight, get bigger, adding about 250 calories over maintenance. So take your body weight in pounds, multiply it times 15, and then add 250. And that gets you how many calories you should bulk with. So that would be my concern with a weight gainer, that it would be too many calories added. So we're gonna finish out with some leg exercises, doing lunges. So we're going to do alternating left and right, closing out the workout with that. A lot of great questions. I like that. I like that you're thinking about how can I adjust my diet and making it personal for you. For some people, a weight gainer powder might be effective. It's just, it doesn't fit for me. I've never used them, so I'm not gonna recommend them. A lot of them I can't actually use because, again, food allergies really cut out a lot of those things for me. So we're gonna do a lunge. I'm gonna put all my weight on my front leg, kneeling down to the ground, and then back up. All 90% of my weight is on this front leg. B2 says, I don't eat beef, but I might consider eating all types of meat. They have more protein than chicken breast. So chicken breast versus beef, about equally effective. There might be slight variance in the amino acids and the amount of leucine in them, but I would say that anything that's animal source, whether it's eggs, beef, chicken, the protein amount is going to be equally effective. It's with chicken breast, the advantage of it is it's very low fat. So if you're just worried about the protein, the chicken breast is probably one of your strongest options. Going chicken or turkey. That's another advantage of the whey protein, is it's also very low fat. So both are good. I personally do lean beef, and that gets me my protein. I'll answer your question in just a second. So B2 asks, how would I advise I maintain 150 grams of protein intake daily? Let's say my budget for a week was 40 euros. So what I would do is anything that's pre-made or eating out, I would cut anything like that out. So cutting out any bread or things that are pre-cut vegetables, any things like that. Try and focus on canned or frozen vegetables that are inexpensive. Like I do a lot of frozen broccoli because it's inexpensive, it's cheap, it's a good vegetable source. And then, so that cutting costs as much as you can in those items, and then finding the cheapest animal protein you can. So it might be ground burger or frozen chicken breasts. Rather than fresh, go for frozen. And sometimes those will be a better deal. So I used to buy a bag of frozen chicken breasts, and those were cheaper than other sources of protein. Finding a inexpensive whey protein where it's not flavored, there's not a lot of other stuff in it, it's not pre-workout, it's not workout branded. Anything that's workout branded tends to be more expensive. So if you're trying to make that money stretch, I would try and focus on just the generic whey protein. I would not go for anything that's a mix, so no creatine protein mix. Also, don't do things that are peptides or collagen powders, because those tend to be more expensive for the amount of protein you get. I would really just look for a whey protein of some kind. What is pre-workout exactly? Is creatine something else? That's a good question. So pre-workouts tend to be a combination of things, and there's not really a set exact thing that's in all of them. Most of them will have some form of caffeine or stimulant in them. Some I think have ginseng as well as a stimulant. And then any number of other stuff that goes into a pre-workout. So it really depends. I personally do not do pre-workouts. I think that there's some efficacy to having them, but they tend to be just expensive for what you get. And it doesn't help me do my workout more effectively. So I tend to just skip it and save the money. I would do just a pre-workout meal or something beforehand, like a piece of fruit. Make sure you have something in your stomach and go with that instead. Now, if you are having trouble getting your protein amount in, I'd focus on that before you think about creatine. So, get your protein locked in first, then focus on, if you have budget left over, then you could think about creatine. there is naturally occurring creatine in meat. So in chicken, in beef, in fish, and these animal sources have creatine in it. So you'll be getting some of that amino acid from the meat. So I would also look for sales on things like chicken breast. Look for it to be on sale and buy in bulk. So I'd save up as much as you can. Where am I based in? I'm in California in the United States. Whew. Yeah. I'm not a huge sports fan actually, which is funny because a lot of people in exercise science were very much into sports. That's just not me. I like exercise, I like playing sports and playing games, but I don't really watch sports that much. I'm more about the biomechanics and understanding the human body. I'm much more interested in that. See, what sport is Warriors? Is that hockey? I'm just showing how much of a sports person I am not. I actually don't know what, NBA, okay. Really? So I know the Lakers are still in LA, right? They didn't, I know sometimes teams move. I did some shadowing at an athletic training center. I was thinking about going into athletic training, and I realized that people there were very into sports, and I was very not. So I switched specialties to exercise science instead. To focus more on the biomechanics. And just personally, there's more of that paramedic first aid side in athletic training, and I realized that that was not for me. Having people injured right there, just, I want to help, but it's a little bit too traumatic. Yeah, LA Lakers have been there since the 60s. Okay, excellent. That's what I thought. I know who just moved where it was it the Raiders moved to Las Vegas? Or they were in Oakland and now they're in Las Vegas? I know it's not NBA, but I know some teams have changed names too recently. Yeah, I don't follow the NFL either. Sometimes I watch the World Series for baseball because seeing the Dodgers is nostalgic because I used to go to Dodger games as a kid. So occasionally I do watch baseball, but otherwise not so much. Trying to really add sets to my legs to build up more leg muscle. So we're working this hamstring and glute and quad. I'm doing single leg, so I can't rely on my stronger leg for my weaker leg. This is great for getting your heart rate up too. Just about done. We're just crossing an hour. So we're gonna finish up with one more set of legs. So if you're liking this workout and want to see more, if you want to be here live working out together, host these live streams on Monday, Wednesday, and Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Hit that subscribe button and the bell to be here live so we can work out together. Ooh. Okay, I feel a pump in my quads right now. That feels very good. For anyone coming in, a pump is when the muscle fills up with blood, so it's swollen up. So you're actually, after you're working out, when you're done, all your muscles will be a little bit larger because they'll be full of nutrients and oxygen and all that blood in them to get them to work. So you see that muscle at its full size. So if you ever look at yourself in the mirror right after you work out, you'll look a little bigger. So that if you're ever wanting to take progress photos, great time to do that. Because you'll see where you're going, where your body's potential is. All right, one more set of legs. I have to get myself to do it. Because legs are the worst. They're so important though, so we can't skip them. So something I'm being careful of is not to let my hip slide out to the side, keeping my hips lined up with my knee. So this muscle right here, this gluteus medius, is engaged, stabilizing my hips. If you have trouble with that sliding out to the side, you can do side leg lifts to help strengthen this muscle. We used to do this in martial arts. We would lift it up and hold that kick out to the side to strengthen this muscle. So, front leg taking all the weight, bending my knee to the front, kneeling down. Both toes pointed straight to the front. Trying to kneel down, putting all my weight on my front leg. Do you watch sports, B2? I mean, obviously you watch a little bit because you know different team names. Ah. You do? What's your favorite sport? Table tennis. Oh, that's awesome. I used to have a ping pong table growing up, but it's been a long time. Have you ever played? Yeah, we used to have one, and then eventually it got moisture warped it, so we had to get rid of it because it actually started bending. It's a great game though, great cardio, a lot of fun. Yeah, you play with your kid, that's awesome. That's so good. You're getting a lot of side to side movement and changing weight and changing balance. So good for your hips and your agility as well, having to switch directions quickly. That's awesome. Whew. So, I'm gonna call it a day here, but it was good talking. I host these live streams Monday, Wednesday, Friday at 11 a.m. Pacific time. Thank you for being here. It's good. Hope to see you next time.